welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I actually do have a victory royale.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss Battle Royale, which came out in the year 2000 from director Kinji Fukasaku. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, the story follows Class B, who have just been dropped onto an island to kill each other off in the government's Battle Royale Act. We follow Nanahara and his girlfriend Noriko as they try to find a way off the island.
So this film kicked up quite a bit of controversy
yeah.
when it came out, especially in Japan. Now, the Japanese parliament and government tried to ban the novel of which this film is based on when it first came out.
Yeah.
Which, of course, caused a bit of interest. And then, of course, the movie adaptation come along. And again, Parliament was like, no, you are not releasing this movie in Japan.
No.
And again, that caused quite a bit of interest in this material. And so as a result, this film was one of the highest grossing films in Japan of all time.
Yeah.
And of course, that kind of controversy and that interest spread overseas as well.
Yeah.
I think it was Germany as well who also banned the film from being shown. And a lot of people also believed that it was banned in America as well, because it was 12 years after the film's release did it actually get an official release in the States.
Wow.
The only way you would have seen it before 2000 and 2012 was if you got a bootleg copy of the film. And that was because the distributors or the producers for the film were charging ridiculous amounts for overseas sellers to actually distribute it.
Yeah.
And so, American companies were just like, we're not paying that much to release a film that is as controversial as it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the film kind of has that kind of stigma to it, that it is the controversy around it. And especially in Japan at the time, I'm not a historian. I don't know too much about Japanese culture.
Yeah.
But I do know that they had a lot of problem with their youth culture.
Yes.
And so it was kind of, the Parliament was kind of also replicating what we would see in the film by trying to control its populace.
Yeah.
By controlling what they're allowed to consume in terms of film. And this film has picked up pretty much a cult following. It has a legacy behind it now.
This film, I said it before we sat down to record, this film is just goddamn amazing. I mean, from a personal level, I was handed a copy of this by our friend Dave way back in the day. I was entering to the foray of Tartan cinema at the time. Their big kind of controversial movies, Ichi the Killer, their horrors, Dark Water, Grudge, things like that. And Dave, our friend Dave, is a big into Asian movies, so he's just like, Iain, you need to watch this. Iain, you need to watch this. And he gave me a copy of Battle Royale, and the beginning immediately just pulls you in. The version we watched was the director's cut, wasn't it?
Special edition.
Yeah, and so there was a couple of extra scenes in the movie that I did not like. It extended the movie and put something there that wasn't there for me before. I watched the original version before, and so when it just explains, the Battle Royale Act, how the Japanese government have had enough with the youth who are terrorizing the streets, and just doing whatever the hell they want, which is true. We have it everywhere. Young gangs that the government can't control, running around and just robbing and stealing and raping and killing because, well, what else are you going to fucking do? And so the government, with their power, enforced this Battle Royale Act where they will just take a class of students and they will just drop them on an island somewhere and let them kill each other off. And you see the music play out, the explanation of this act. You see the reporter at the beginning running up to this smiling little girl who I only noticed this time had braces, which seemed to make it even more scarier. The blood on her face and the look in her eye, like she has just had to kill her way to survive. And this is all okay.
Well, yeah. It is one of those, it's a dystopian kind of future.
Yeah.
It's kind of bleak. And it is a little bit jarring because when you think about it, you're just like, well, this isn't a televised event.
No.
but
No.
the survivor and their stories are, because we see all the reporters trying to get the story.
Well, just for that one battle royale, we don't know if that was the first one and they decided to keep them hidden from then on, or if this was the last one that's just happened.
Well, we know that the next class that is volunteered
Yeah.
into the Battle Royale Act have no idea what they're doing there.
No. But they, you know, it's the build up for all their characters, which I absolutely love. I mean, you have Fujiwara Tatsuya playing Shua Nanahara. Sorry, my Japanese isn't too great, but Shua is your main guy, and he's like I had to wiki more of his backstory because the film doesn't give you that much, but obviously it's expanded more in the book, where his parents were political activists fighting against the government, and they were killed, and he's sent to an orphanage, and that's where he grows up and goes to school. Where in the film, for me, when you get those brief clips of his father who's committed suicide, from the first time I watched it up to this point where I was researching it, I always believed that his dad had killed himself because the class had been accepted into the Battle Royale, and the dad didn't think his son was going to make it.
Yeah, there's too long of a distance between his suicide and them actually going in.
Well. I mean, it's a flashback. The film doesn't explain to you that Shua goes to an orphanage and spends time there. Literally, from where I sometimes see it, you know, his dad has committed suicide, and Shua's going out on the fucking class trip. Like the next day.
Sure.
You know?
Well, yeah, the flashbacks do, cut back in and cross time, and they are placed throughout the film. The film constantly likes to remind you that these were all friends.
Yeah.
Before they were put on this island.
I mean, I don't like the basketball sequence that you get in the director's cut. You know, there's this whole basketball. Hey, the kids were playing basketball and they're having fun. And it jars me because this is supposed to be a dystopian, government-controlled world, and these guys seem to be having such a great time.
Well, that's another part of the film, is that they are having a great time, and not all of the kids in this class are bad eggs.
No.
You know, there's some genuinely nice people here, but they're still forced into this situation.
Yeah, I mean, Nobu, Shua's friend, he cuts the teacher, Kitano,
In the school.
In the school.
Yeah.
And I like that part. I'm like, yeah, I understand the violence behind the why they want to do this now, because look at this kid. But, you know, when they try to then explain about the history between Shua and Nobu and how they're friends, you know, the film doesn't explain to you that these guys have spent months together. You know, they're like brothers now.
There are 42 characters plus in the film.
That is
and so the film,
point, yeah.
you know, and it's just under 2 hour running time, does its best to just give you little bits of characterization for each of the characters so that you kind of have a sense of who all of them are.
Yeah.
I mean, you almost immediately know these are your two leads.
Yeah.
But, you know, with all the other characters in the background, they're given just a little bit of time so that when you encounter them again in the Battle Royale,
yes,
you kind of know who they are and how the game has changed them.
Yeah. So the kids are all heading out on the bus, and they have no idea that they are being pulled away, you know, to this island.
Get the snippets of the army trucks
Yeah.
passing in the window.
You know, and one of the kids is just like, that's not normal. And they pull into the tunnel and they're handing out Noriko, Shua's girlfriend, kind of love interest. She's handing out cookies, and then everybody's passed out. And you get that weird female attendant walking along with a gas mask, and she just kind of knocks him out. And it's like the brutality behind this movie, right there, right from the start. Like I said, even that suicide of his dad was just enough to go, it's going to be harsh from this way out. And when they wake up in the classroom, or the room, I suppose, on this island, and they've all got the collars on their necks, you know, they're all still in their school clothes. You know, it's terrifying to think that there's parents, you know, parents at home who are probably thinking, oh, he's a bit late. Or
well,
no,
they're on a school trip, so.
Well, yeah. I mean, do the parents know?
I don't think so.
That was one of the things. But well, they must know because the act was passed. Unless the Japanese government are keeping all these acts secret.
I can only imagine the parents going, "No, well, it's for the best."
Yeah. And while the kids are screaming, you know, and the army are moving up with their machine guns taking control of the room, you notice two characters in the background. You've got Kawada, the guy with the bandana, both characters look like
shady character individuals.
They look like they've done this before, and Kawada's just sat there with his bandana looking all badass, and then you got Kuriyama with the fucking hair, and Kuriyama just looks a little bit more unstable than everybody else.
Well, they also look a lot older than all the other students as well.
Yeah.
And, because this is a class of 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they look like, late teens, like early adults.
Yeah. And it brings up the question, like, how many Battle Royales have they won? Did they win the most recent one? Were they in it together?
Well, no, because we just saw the victory of the most recent one.
Well, we don't know that was the most recent. It didn't actually say. It was just a victory. And then the teacher, Kitano, comes in and starts to take control of the room. And his character's always kind of thrown me off a bit because he's in charge.
Yeah. Well, he retired from being a teacher after he got stabbed in the classroom corridors.
Oh, yeah.
So he wasn't their teacher anymore. He resigned from that, then went to work for the government, and then decided, you know what, fuck these kids. I'm going to run the Battle Royale.
So now that kind of throws me off because he was teaching them while they were in school, and then he leaves. And then he leaves and goes and works for the government. So you can't just turn up at the government offices, for 5 days, be like, "Hey, Kitano, you're in charge of the Battle Royale Act." Oh, I know exactly who I'm going to put in the Battle Royale. Yep, my last class, who only taught.
Well, it's supposed to have been random anyway. They're randomly picked, but we don't get to see that procedure. So, but what we do see is that they wheel out their replacement teacher who tried to protest to the government that this class shouldn't be chosen because they're good students.
Yeah,
and they just shot him in the face.
Yeah, they just fucked him up. Or left the over excess of late 90s Japanese blood effects.
Yeah.
But it's shocking. They don't need. None of this film utilizes any kind of computer-generated graphics to show him. I mean, maybe... No, not even the blood spurts. Most of the blood spurts.
A lot of the blood spurts are CGI.
Ah, see.
Yeah. There was only a couple of characters in the actual film that had squibs, and the rest was all CGI blood sprays.
But the teacher tries to explain to them what's going on. And like I said, it's kind of jarring. The students are like, we don't know what's going on. What is this Battle Royale thing? And he explains to them that you're going to go out to this island, and over the next 3 or 4 days, you're going to kill each other off until there's only one left. And he starts to show a training video, but a girl starts talking, and he just nails her in the face with a knife and kills her off.
Yeah, that just kind of cements everybody in the room, like, this is for real. This is actually happening.
It cements it for you as well as the audience member, because it comes up with a number and says, 40 to go. And it tells you the name of the student and that she's dead. And you're like, oh, right, so they're all going to kill each other off now, And he starts to explain about the collars and the danger zones, and that if you stay in there for too long, your collar will activate. And he purposely picks out Nobu. He's sliced him with the knife, and then he activates his collar in front of everybody. And you have the friendship kind of moment, and you just watch his neck just explode.
Yeah, a fucking fountain of blood. Yeah, it's... From a conceptual point of view, looking at this film, you're just like, this is great.
Yeah.
What an idea, what a concept. Yet, you think about the grim reality of it. It's really quite disturbing. And they're told, you've got a survival pack, and each of you are going to be given this rucksack with a random weapon inside it.
Rice, water, and a random weapon. So you might end up with a gun or binoculars.
I just love the idea of the government going, here's a cooking pot lid. Go and kill your classmates with it.
It's just fucking stupid. And it's also the fact that when the kids are all starting to run out, they are all terrified, so they're just grabbing bags and just go in. And you even get that one student. Each one of the students is such an individual. You get that one student who just throws her bag back and is like, I'm not going to take part in this. And you're like, well, you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
But you get, like, Kawada, he comes up, grabs his bag, runs out, and then comes back, pushes past the other crazy-haired guy, and takes a different pack.
Right.
He's like, that's mine. Oh, yeah, we'll fucking take it. We don't care.
It's pretty random, but
just get out there, because if you don't go out there, we're just going to shoot you.
Right.
And the film brilliantly, sets up every single character, but keeps the camera focused focused on your mains.
Sure.
You know, you've got Katano, the teacher, is your main. You've got Noriko. You've got Shua. You know, Shua's literally turned to Noriko and he's like, I'll wait for you outside. And as he runs outside, he runs down a couple of meters and just hides there. And I do think of Running Man as soon as they get out into it, because I'm like, here we go with the game. But where Running Man had the over-the-top 80s futuristic feel that it had, Battle Royale has always just been kind of present day.
Right.
You know? Because they don't have, you know, they don't have anything over the top. You know, and the fact that they don't have like lots of mobile phones or all of the technology that we have now, when you see that first girl stumble out with the arrow through her neck,
She's still carrying her bags.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm going to be okay.
this is Lord of the Flies shit, man.
But it turns out there's this kid is literally spawn killing. He's just sat there. He's going to crossbow everybody that comes out the gate.
Oh, why not?
Right?
Why the fuck not? Why not just kill everybody at the doorway and be like, I won, right? Like 10 minutes? That's a record. You kind of get that moment where the kind of bigger kids on the floor, like, you know, I don't want to fight. And he grabs the crossbow as his mate runs at him and nails him with it. And it's just like, I've got the weapon now. But you know, what do I do? And he just goes running off. And it does pay off that he will come back later on and have another little moment. But you are hit with so many kills so quickly in day one that it can be kind of jarring for some people to try to keep up with who has died. I mean, your main people, Shua and Noriko, run off into a cave, you know, and your main love interest, these are your main characters. They're going to hide there now. But, you know, when you have Crazy Hair, I'm just going to call him Crazy Hair because he's crazy hair. When he gets surrounded by like 8 kids, and they're all armed with grenades and guns and knives and stuff. And he takes the Uzi from one of the kids and just blasts them all.
Yeah, it kills like 5 of them right there.
Yeah, just fucking wipes them out.
I'm like, well, there's a quick way to reduce the numbers of students left alive.
But not only that, he's just taking all their supplies as well.
He's taking all their weapons and all their supplies. So he's kitted up for the rest of the film.
Yeah, this is like you. If your kid likes Fortnite, get him to watch Battle Royale.
Well, maybe not, because
I mean, but I was watching this film and I'm like, you could make Fortnite the movie. You're like, just throw them out of buses, you know, with bags. Here you go, you know. But you even get a couple who are like in love, you know, and they stand at the cliff and she's just like, I'm not taking part. I'll kill myself before I do. And he's like, no, please don't. Okay, I'll come with you. And then the two of them just throw themselves off.
Yeah.
You know, you're just watching it just tick down.
Yeah.
You know, 40 to go, 38 to go, 37 to go, 36 to go. I always found it punctuated so brilliantly, you know. And so when you're just seeing these pop up, I'm like, dead. Got it, right? Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes the names come up and I'm like, I don't even know who that was. It's like, you know, some of these were just fodder kills.
Yeah.
But it kind of just adds to the excitement of the film.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
You're wondering what other weapons do some of these other characters have? You know, especially if he was given a pot lid and this guy was given an Uzi.
Well, like Koala's got a fucking semi-automatic shotgun.
Right.
And how much ammo has the Uzi got?
Yeah, but he's entered in the cheat code for infinite
Yeah.
ammo. Clearly. Because you never see him reload.
But I'm like, he's just fired off like 60 fucking rounds. You know, okay, maybe the bag had loads of ammo in. I don't know.
It must have done.
Those two characters, though, you know, they always seem to be the trump cards for the government.
Well, yeah, because we're told that they were both volunteers for this game. Well, actually, no, we were told they're transfers.
Yeah, they
And
won their previous ones.
yes,
And
and
decided
both
to
of them have
keep playing.
volunteered because they want to partake in the game still.
They enjoy it too much. I mean, we will learn more of Kawada's backstory, but it's thinning out the students themselves actually, because we get introduced to Megumi and Mitsuko. Mitsuko is a student what I noticed this time round was there was a lot of hatred, kind of bullying in the female students.
Sure, yeah.
You know, Noriko mentions about how she didn't actually want to hang out with any of her friends because actually she doesn't trust any of them. She'd rather just hang out with Shua. And when you have Mitsuko, she's hiding in a little room looking at old photos. You know, her friends are dying all around her, and this is just the last time. But she comes across Megumi, and Megumi's an interesting character because she's the pretty girl of this class. You know, you always had one. The top-notch girl was bigger than everybody else. And Mitsuko doesn't like her at all. You know, but the two of them are maybe going to work together. No. Because Megumi, you know, she pulls out that little scythe thing that she's got.
It's a sickle, yeah.
Yeah, the sickle. And she fights with the girl and she puts it to her neck. And she's like, this is my weapon. You can see she's really enjoying it. You know, she may have had a hand in the two kids that committed suicide outside. You see this evil where she just kind of cuts her throat and the blood goes everywhere. And you're like, she's fucking evil with everything going on.
Yeah, but we also have her. She actually gets a flashback as well when we see her mum kind of passed out on the table.
Yes.
And she's taken up the stairs by this gentleman visitor who kind of pops the head off the doll and then strips it of its clothing, and then it's like, now it's your turn.
Yeah.
And she pushes and kills him by pushing him down the stairs.
Yeah. That was...
And so I'm like, okay, so I mean, she's murdered someone when she was like 8 years old.
Was that part of the director's cut? I can't remember it being in the original film.
I remember seeing it before, so I'm not. Again, I'm
yeah,
not
because some of the backstory kind of did throw it all over the place. There is this great sequence with the student Chigusa, I think it is. She's a female actress. You might recognize her from Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yeah, she's a go-go in that.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, like, I always see her and I think she's going to be evil, you know? But she actually, in this film, is actually a nice girl.
Yeah.
And she has this great sequence in the movie where she's jogging along. You know, she used to do this in her spare time.
Shit flashes back to her jogging,
and she's talking to her friend. But then as she runs around the corner, she's on the island and the necklace is around her neck and she kind of freaks out. And she comes across the guy from the beginning with the crossbow, and he's in love with her, but he wants to be with her, and she doesn't want to be with him because she's in love with somebody else. And you know, he'll rape her if she doesn't do anything, you know, because he's got the fucking crossbow. And it's a really awkward moment where you're just like, man, she's got every right now to kill you, you know, because you're threatening her. Just leave her alone. I know you have to kill each other anyway, but just get it over and done with, because this whole conversational, I want to be your friend, don't want to be your friend, I want to rape you, but I don't want to rape you. It's awkward as fuck until he scars her.
Yeah. He shoots an arrow at her, which cuts her face.
And then she fucks him up. Like, parlez-vous my français, but she stabs him in the ballsack.
A couple of times. Yeah, that's fucking gruesome, but he was a douche.
Yeah. But there's another sequence later on where you see Megumi cleaning up after she's killed two boys. She's lured two boys to.
She's used her sexuality to lure them away.
But it's just a quick image. But if you look carefully, those two boys are lying on the floor and they've been castrated.
Right.
And I'm like.
Yeah, it's the novel which it's based on and
Yeah.
the manga which also is adapted from the movie and the book
Yeah.
goes into it in a little bit more detail of how she lured them away and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
the
we didn't
film
need to see it.
the film does a great enough job by just giving you that image,
Yeah, it does.
and your imagination can just go, okay, yeah, that's happened.
Because the whole adventure as well is still happening. You are, as the audience member, you're kind of behind Shua and Noriko, and you want to get them off the island. And you're just watching all of these other students get killed. I mean, you got the girls on the hill with the megaphone.
Yeah.
You know, when
Like, we can all work together.
yeah, and then Crazy Hair turns up with the Uzi and just fucking lays waste to them.
They're
Like,
making so much noise.
yeah, like 3 or 4 times he's like, brr, brr, brr. I'm like, it's the girl still on the floor, like,
I'm not dead yet. I feel happy.
classic overacting. They come across Kawada, and he starts to kind of help them because Noriko is injured. And she's got an infection, so they head to the clinic and they start to look for basically health packs to heal her up. And you start to follow a group of kind of hackers getting together. You know, one of these kids has got a tracking device that allows him to lock onto everybody's necklace and find where they all are. And these other 3 kids have managed to find like a laptop, a generator, some other stuff, and they're going to hack the government system and bring it down. And I'm like, really?
Well, it turns out that he would actually be successful in doing that. You know, he sends them out to go and get all those materials. They bring it all back, and he does bring the system down. You see them at the HQ panicking as the warning lights are coming on.
Yeah, but this part kind of really does slightly confuse me because they're hacking into the system, getting ready to bring it down, and Kawada reveals to Shua and Noriko that he's from a previous game. You know, it was him and his girlfriend at the end, and he was going to protect her with his life, and she shot him, and so he shot her back and killed her, and she was happy because he'd survived. And secretly, Kawada is here to bring the government down as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, spoilers, it will be revealed that Kawada hacked the necklaces and that the other guys actually weren't slightly, or if they were successful, they only distracted them while Kawada actually made the actual infiltration. Because the students, I mean, when Crazy Hair turns up and shoots up the clinic, Kawada, Noriko, and Shua are all separated, and Shua ends up going to the lighthouse with this group of girls, which is one of the greatest sequences in fucking film history, where one of the girls had seen Shua accidentally kill a student and thought he was a murderer.
That's because she fancied the kid who had died there.
Yeah, yeah. And the other girls obviously wanted to protect Shua because they've all kind of fancied him, but he's obviously only got eyes for Noriko. And she poisons the spaghetti that they're cooking.
That was her weapon.
That was her weapon, was the poisoned spaghetti. And the most crazy overacting happens where one of the girls just dies right there. You know, she accidentally eats Shua's meal and dies. And then they all start fighting with each other. And if you watch carefully, the girl with the poison just kind of hangs in the background.
Of
Everybody
course, yeah.
ignores her. And it's amazing.
Because they all start blaming each other.
Yeah.
Who poisoned it?
You
know,
cooked
it
it,
was
you did it.
watching this sequence. It's clear to see why Tarantino absolutely raves about Battle Royale.
Yes.
And he always says it's the film that he wished he had also made.
Oh, yeah.
And this entire kitchen sequence is like a microcosm of the Tarantino universe.
Yeah, yeah.
Because right at the beginning of this sequence, they're all chatting about how it's going to be okay and how they're going to get through this and with their teamwork.
Yeah.
You know, and they're just talking about other stuff. And then 5 minutes later, they're just all dead. Like, they've just all killed each other.
Yeah.
They're just bodies everywhere and just blood all over the
Gunfire.
walls.
For a lot of Asian films, that's basically what happens. They all go into a room, talk nicely, and 5 minutes later, they're all dead. You know, fucking bullet holes everywhere. You know, one little thing's them all. But slightly, weirdly enough, slightly realistic, because if you think about it, so those characters as well, I mean, they've not slept for a couple of days. You know, they've probably been on edge from the moment they left that room at the beginning. You know, and they're only working
They
together.
were just kind of pretending everything was okay.
Yeah, well, they are really, like Noriko said, you can't really trust them. And after they're all dead and the poison girl commits suicide, Shua's on his own. And, you get a couple flashbacks through, him trying to, remember good times or, what keeps the drive going, I suppose. What makes him want to keep alive. And at the same time, Noriko, she has like a dream sequence with Kitano.
Yeah. Now, the film does an interesting thing where you see her asleep and it cuts to the dream.
Yeah.
But then it also cuts to Kitano, who's asleep on the sofa. So you're like, is it his dream? Is it her dream? Are they sharing a dream?
Yeah, because...
Is this a flashback and therefore not even a dream?
He really cares for Noriko. Noriko seems like the only girl in the whole class who actually went to class every day and did her lessons.
Sure.
And you start to get snippets of Kitano's personal life through phone calls where his daughter is calling him up saying that his wife is ill and that he can't make it. It's like he doesn't want to go, or he can't go because obviously he's in the middle of a fucking island killing off the school kids that he used to teach. But it's so weird because she wakes up and goes out into the middle of the jungle and Kitano's there.
Yeah, it's like he's found a shortcut just to get to where she is.
Yeah, Megumi's just about to kill Noriko, but she runs off, and he's just there with an umbrella, and Shua turns up and he gives them the umbrella and just goes off, and you're like, what?
Favoritism.
Yeah, like. But the hackers are, they've done their little hacking thing. They've stuck a bomb on the front of a van, and they're planning on going and killing the government. But Crazy Hair turns up and
puts an end to that plan.
Yeah, fucks them all up.
He kills the other guy who's waving his torch. He's like, "Hey, Nanahana!"
Yeah.
And he just gets blown away. The other kid gets shot, and then the other guy he sacrifices himself. He hits the bomb right next to Crazy Hair guy.
Yeah.
Which doesn't defeat him, but blinds him.
Yeah.
From the blast.
Kawada and Noriko and Shua turn up because they were going to hook up with the hackers. And it's just like a bit of a gunfight battle, really. Not much of one because one guy's blind. But Kawada does get...
He's still got infinite ammo.
Oh, yeah, he's still got infinite ammo on. And Kawada does get injured. And the three of them wander off to another section of Ireland. Like we said, you have followed literally every character is...
He does kill him there, doesn't he? He does blow his head off.
Yeah, he blows his head off. But every other character who was in that class is dead because the film has kept you in the knowledge that each one of them has been killed off. You've either seen it or the teacher has told you over the last couple of days through reports in the mornings. I mean, when Blue Danube plays across the morning and he starts reading out, here are this morning's zones, do not go here, and at dinner time don't go here and here are the students that have died. You're like, oh, shit, because you start to see recognition sometimes in Shua's face and Noriko's where those were friends. Those were friends. But the three of them are together, and we know that there's microphones in the necklaces, and Kawada basically shoots Noriko and Shua. And the teacher shuts the battle royale down, sends all the army home, and it's a bit weird because it's like, well, what is your connection to all this, Kitano? Or like, are you really upset that he's killed Noriko off? But when Kawada turns up, this is what kind of threw me off this time of watching it. Kitano says, "Aha, you hacked us months ago. You managed to get into the system," and I'm like, well. Then what did those other kids do? Did they even make a difference? Because obviously I'm not going anywhere near the sequel movie. I'm just not. That'll be a different review. But Kawada's like, well, okay, if you knew that, then... And Shua and Noriko come walking into the room. And he reveals that painting to Noriko.
Yeah. It's like a shrine to her. It's depicting all the other deaths in the film.
Yeah.
Yet her with this angelic glow around her.
Like she was supposed to win.
And it's kind of, we saw Kitano's, estranged relationship with his actual daughter over the phone.
Yeah.
And it's almost like she is his surrogate daughter.
Yeah.
Like the daughter he never had or wished he had, is unlike the one he does have. Yeah, yeah.
It's very strange.
It is strange.
Because the time lapse, how long has he been teaching them? When did he give up the teaching and become the leader of the Battle Royale group? Or what? It's very weird, but it makes a class ending because he gets shot the fuck up and falls on the floor, and you're like,
he tells them, he's just like, look, I'm going to kill you now.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've broken the rules, etc., etc. And he's like, unless you kill me first. And he pulls the gun, and he lives down there, no choice but to gun him down.
Yeah.
And while he's down there bleeding, he fires his gun, and it's just a water gun. I was like, oh, it's like falling down.
But but it's even more brilliant when his phone rings.
もしもし、しおりか。あのな。
And walks over to the sofa, sits down, and has a
Takes a phone
conversation
call.
with his girlfriend.
And also eats the last cookie.
Oh, eats the last cookie as well, yeah.
And also deletes his browsing history.
Oh, yeah. And then throws the phone across the room and dies.
Yeah, and then dies.
And then dies. Or you hope.
Yeah, there's so many characters in this film that they get riddled with bullets and then they get up again.
Yeah.
Just like it takes it into that farcical,
Hard-boiled,
cartoonish way.
Hard-boiled universe it is.
Sure.
The old gunfight universe.
Maybe it was just a paint gun that he had the whole time. And they're just really hurt. Make a bit more sense.
Yeah, that'll explain all the ammo as well.
Right.
But Shua, Noriko, and Kawada all get on the last boat and head out. And it's the moral message here, because Kawada dies finally of his wounds to be with his girlfriend, and Shua and Noriko head off into this empty city, or say empty, it's early morning, but they're free.
They're not. They're now, the government has labelled them murderers and criminals.
And they're gonna do...
Now they need to live off the grid.
Yeah.
For the rest of time. So yeah.
Yeah. Bleak.
Very, very. So Iain, do you have any favourite scenes from the film?
Man, I'm done. The whole fucking movie. The whole movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
The musical sequences are just, with the classic, they punctuate the silliness of the movie so much. The over top of the gunfire. Like, if I had one sequence that always just stands out for me, it's with the girl jogging.
Sure, yeah.
Like you don't know it's a dream, or it's not really a dream. It's maybe it's running while she's sleeping. I don't know. But it's the way she just turns down that place, that little road.
It's very well done, because it cuts from flashback to real time.
Yeah.
In one camera movement.
Yeah.
And your brain catches up to
necklace,
it. Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm still here," and you're like, "Oh yeah, you're still on the island. We are still on the island." Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's a great moment. It's the same as her dreaming and then cutting to the dream and then him asleep.
Yeah.
And you're just like, whose dream is it? Is it shared dream? It's just like just a few edits and camera work, and you're just like, it's very well structured.
I will say though, don't watch the director's cut. The added dream sequences.
Well, you could always watch the Japanese released 3D version.
Oh wow! Imagine Battle
That's only available in Japan.
Battle Royale in 4DX. Here's your 3D goggles and a necklace.
I got so many favourite sequences from the film, but I think the first main one, the one that's the most memorable and the strongest sequence, is Kitano in front of all of the kids explaining to them the Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Because, as an audience member, your first time watching the film, that's the scene where you're trying to take in all the information. All the exposition is just dumped right here.
That girl on the video is amazing.
Super upbeat and cheerful and happy. This collar will blow out your brains. She's so happy about it. But I'm like, it's just in contrast to the reality of the situation.
Yes, yeah.
But him throwing the knife at one student, him activating the collar of another one and explaining the rules, them getting their rucksacks and weapons, was just like, it's just all the great build up until they're actually released into the island. Of the actual island killings, we've mentioned the kitchen sequence of all the girls.
Oh, yeah.
It is for me the best sequence in the film. It really works. I just love how friendly and polite they all are to each other before this just guns out and everyone's dead.
Like the guy on the bike.
Right.
He's like, oh, I'm alive. Because he's got body armor on and fucking crazy hair is just stood there with a samurai sword.
Yeah. Yeah. Great moment.
Yeah.
And I also love the kid at the beginning with the crossbow, just spawn killing. You know, just like, that's great. It's a great idea. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be recommending Battle Royale for a number of reasons, really. It has a really interesting and engaging premise that quickly hooks you in, and it keeps you entertained with the over-the-top bloody teen massacres, whilst kind of highlighting real-world kind of fears of a youthful, rebellious uprising. It's a thought-provoking satire with disturbing depictions of violence and its controversial messages about liberty and freedom, you know, and youth control. The film itself is really well paced, the actors are all superb in their roles, and you easily root for the three leads. It does get a little bit cliched now, but you add that in with a mix of the dark humour, and it doesn't detract from it being one hell of a film experience. It's a cult movie for a reason, and it's an absolute must-watch.
This movie came out at such a great time. It just kind of cemented itself. You know, it's up there with, like, I don't know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, for one of those films that came out that everybody didn't want to talk about or want to see because it hit home on so many levels for so many people.
I forget that this film also came out a year after the Columbine shooting, which was students killing other students,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You know, but I've said this a lot of times. People get annoyed at me that the Hunger Games is a poor man's battle royale. You know, extend it by 3 or 4 stories and bring in the government. You can do whatever you want, but you look at the writer of the Hunger Games went, I've seen Running Man and Battle Royale. I can write my own story.
No, actually, she said, I've never heard of Battle Royale, and Hunger Games is entirely my own idea.
What? A bunch of kids in the middle of an island killing each other off until there's only one left.
Yeah, totally original idea.
I was very lucky to also watch Belko Experiment straight after watching Battle Royale, and it kind of really surprised me that they are still doing that idea. You know,
It's a great concept.
Bunch of people into one area. You know, Stone Cold Steve Austin did it with the Condemned as well. Throw them all in there, stick bombs in them, and set them off against each other. For me, though, Battle Royale it does it better.
Hell yeah. Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
最後の1枚クッキーうまかったな。